finished painting the green areas of the cliff face, and I've also given it another quick highlight with the light grey paint, just a dry brush again. And that's just to pick out the detail. After, the other layers, the black wash, the green wash, all these things, you kind of lose a little bit of the edge we created later, and that's all we're picking up again, just the little edges, just to make it stand out better, make sure we make the most of that beautiful texture we get off the bark. What I'm going to move on to now is painting the areas where we're going to put the static grass, and basically I want these areas to look really earthy and look like the ground itself. So it's a natural choice to pick brown as our colour for that, unsurprisingly. And I'm using this brown emulsion paint from the DIY shop rather than the artist acrylic, just because of the sheer quantities it comes in. I mean, that tin of paint there I think was about £12 or something like that, it's round about that, which for the amount of paint you get is really good value, and it goes a long way, trust me. I mean, I don't even know how many projects done with this, I'm not even halfway down the tin. So yeah, that's a good investment. Tin of paint. Just make sure you give it a good stir before you start using it. And I'm just going to use it straight out of the pot. I mean, I could put it on a palette, you maybe want to. If you want to just control the amount of paint you have on your brush more, put it on a palette. But because we're doing such a large area here, you can spread it out quite easily. So I'm going to start with these fiddly bits. I want to be quite careful now. Before I was putting the paint everywhere, it didn't really matter. Now I'm going to start being a little bit more careful in here, because I don't want to mess up this area that we spent a little bit of time on. I mean, it didn't take that long. I mean, it would be easy enough to fix if it went wrong. It's not a disaster. Just I'd rather not, So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some brown paint and just start painting away here. And basically the whole hill is going to get a coat of brown paint, and it might even get 2 coats of brown paint, because the paint's going to kind of act as just another layer of protection over the polyfiller to stop it chipping and cracking. I see, look. Okay, we're now moving into the final stages of hill production, and what we've got here is the hill, and it's had its 2 coats of the brown emulsion. What I've also done is, look around here, I've painted the sides of the hill black, just using the black acrylic I was using earlier, and I think it's looking pretty good. These darker patches are just where the paint's over the foam instead of the polyfill. It's just a slightly different texture. It's not that the paint's wet or that I've used a different colour, it's just dried slightly differently because of the surface it's painted on. This is just where there was foam showing through. It's really not going to matter. In fact, it's probably going to add to the end result. What we're moving on to now is adding our static grass. What I'm going to be doing today is just adding the static grass as if I was using normal flock. I'm not using a static grass applicator. I'm not too worried about it. The reason I'm not doing that is simply because I don't have a static grass applicator, but like I said, I'm not too worried about it. At the end of the day, what we're making here is a piece of wargames terrain. It's not a diorama, it's not a display piece. It's going to be getting used and abused, basically. So there's going to be models going up and down it, there's going to be battles happening on it, there's going to be dice rolling on it, there's going to be rule books on it, there's going to be wargamers leaning on it. It's going to get a bit of wear and tear, and after a week or two you wouldn't know if the grass was standing up on its end originally or not. So I'm just going to crack on and show you what the process is, basically. To start with, I'm going to get my PVA glue, this stuff. Here we go, I'm getting this in shot. Our PVA glue, and I'm going to get something to mix it on. Basically a makeshift palette, a Haribo lid, awesome. Right, so pour some glue in the Haribo lid. Okay, so I've now got my glue on my Haribo lid, and I'm just going to start painting glue on the hill. What I'm going to do before I start painting glue on the hill is I'm going to get a bit of scrap paper. Now, I'm not doing this because I care about my table. This table has seen a lot of wear and tear in the past. The reason I'm putting a bit of paper underneath my hill here is to stop the glue going on the table. And the reason for that is I want to be able to recover my static grass that doesn't stick to the hill. And I don't want it sticking to the table, I'd rather be able to collect it up afterwards. So get yourself some glue. Now, I've seen people in the past watering down their glue for this and using a really thin solution. I'm not going to do that because I really want my grass to stick, you know. And I'm just going to start by painting an area like this with my big brush. You see, this is actually just the brush I've been using throughout the whole project. It's now getting used as a glue brush, and that's not a problem because the PVA glue is completely water based, and when we're done we can just wash the glue out. And you want to paint on a patch of glue where you want to add your static grass. Pretty simple. And you want to just make sure you don't overextend, basically. You want to be able to put on enough that you're covering a large area so this doesn't take all night. In fact, I'm going to take the lid off for this. However, you also don't want the glue that you started painting, you don't want this glue down here to dry before you're finished painting your last bit of glue. So what I'm going to do is do it in strips like this. Fairly large strip there. Fine. And you can see I've gone right to the edge and I've painted it right on the paper there, right? Now, put this to one side, remove the paper, like so, put that to one side, try not to get glue on the carpet, and then all I'm going to do is get my static grass. Now, this static grass I'm using is from, what's the company again? It was War World Scenics, I think they're called, and it's their summer blend. Quite like it. It's nice. It's nice, a deep green. I actually have loads of this stuff. This is about, it should be about 50 grams there in my little tub here. 50 grams should be about enough to cover a hill like this. You might need a little bit more. And what I'm going to use is just this kitchen sieve that I've stolen from the kitchen, and I'm going to sieve it onto the area that I've glued before the glue dries. So I'll just get a lump in here. You could just plonk it on without a sieve, but problem with static grass that way is that you end up with clumps, and if you want clumps, that's fine. This gives you a nice even spread of green. So it just takes a bit just to get it on. You want to put on more than you need. You want to be using more than you need. Cover it entirely. Basically bury it in the stuff. Like so. Possibly could have done a wider strip actually. I don't really want it inside the hill. But it's easy enough to reclaim your static grass once you're done. Just sweep it up. And that seems okay, maybe a little bit more up here. And just put on more than you need. Put on more than you need because we're going to get it all back anyway, and if anything that doesn't stick we're going to get it back. And that's the first strip done. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to let that sit for a wee minute and let the glue take hold of it. And when it's sat for 2 minutes or so, I'll pick up the hill, give it a dunt. In fact, I could do it right now, it'll make a bit of noise. So, pick up the hill. Actually, while I was painting it, the hill, did an accidental strength test on the hill by way of dropping it on the floor, which was entertaining. It survived though. And you can see we've got a nice green patch, and you can see there's white showing through where the glue is underneath. That's okay, the glue dries transparent. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to collect up that static grass that I've bumped off and start the next layer. And there we have it, the hill is now covered with static grass. You might see some patches there where there's still some white showing through. That's just the PVA where it's on a bit thicker. It's kind of inevitable where you've got an uneven surface like that, it pools in some areas. It's not a big deal, it dries clear, don't worry about it, it's fine. What I'm going to do now is to try and make sure that my static grass stays on. I've put some more PVA glue in one of these squirty bottle things. This is just like window cleaning bottle, and I've really diluted it. This is quite runny stuff, and I'm going to give it a quick spray over the whole thing like this. Give it a quick scoop of PVA glue mixed with water. It's quite a really quite dilute mix. Just give it a good scoot, hose it down a bit. Over here as well. And now, looking for the camera. Whole thing gets a scoot of that. And that is just going to help seal it all in. Nice and bra. Also goes all over my table, but that doesn't matter, it cleans off. Well, it would clean off if I ever cleaned it, but that's beside the point. So you just give it a good hose with that. And it really doesn't affect the texture of the static grass too badly. All it does is it means it's not going to rub off every time that we pick the hill up, you know. And hopefully that should be it. So I've just got the lid to do now. I'll do the lid. This is it here. It's still needing done. But once that's done, I'll put it all together and I'll show you the finished product. And here it is, the finished hill. I've just finished off the lid in exactly the same way as the rest of the hill. Used PVA glue, static grass, and then sealed it with the watered down PVA glue again. This is actually the second hill I made. The first one's over here, and I've made them in exactly the same way, even to the point where the edges will match up. So the outside edges of the hill are the same on both hills, so that if I place them in the corners, they're separate hills like this, or I can put them on the edge of a board and they'll make one great big hill, which is pretty cool. You'll notice that, let's get the camera right there, you'll notice that my wargames table here doesn't actually match the flock on the hill, but that's not a big deal because in the next few weeks I'm intending making a new wargames table. I'll put a video up about making a wargames table, and I'll flock it to match the hills. It's pretty simple. And I'm also going to be making some more terrain pieces that'll match this as well, so some smaller bits and bobs that'll fit about the place. I'll put up some videos of that as well. So if you want to check them out, they'll be up on my channel. And yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a little thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment, that'd be awesome as well. So until next time, I've been Steve, and you've been awesome.